If you find yourself constantly messing up right before you're about to win, you're not cursed. You're battling your shadow. Or, let's say you have a great job, amazing friends, and a loving partner, but somehow you just can't feel worthy of it all. You might push people away or throw it all away right when you're about to have it all. Again, you're not broken. You're battling your shadow. Or perhaps you feel like you've done the inner work, the journaling, the therapy, the self-help books, and yet you still struggle with the same fears, insecurities, and destructive patterns. Once again, you're not crazy or stuck. You're battling your shadow. If any of this resonates, stick around because this video is for you. I believe shadow work is the missing piece most people need to unlock their power, stop self-sabotaging, and transform their lives, but it's often misunderstood, which is why I want to break it down for you. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what your shadow is, how to notice when it's running the show, and most importantly, 4 simple steps to start healing it. So if you're ready to dive deep, let's begin. First, we need to get clear on what shadow work actually means. The term shadow comes from Carl Jung's analytical psychology. He viewed the shadow as the part of our psyche we keep hidden, the parts of ourselves that are deemed unacceptable, unworthy, or too uncomfortable to acknowledge. Jung believed that these hidden aspects of ourselves don't go away. Instead, they form a sort of unconscious block behind the scenes, controlling us without us even realizing it. And shadow work is the process of bringing these hidden aspects to the surface, acknowledging them, integrating them, and ultimately healing them. But here's the problem. Most of us have no idea we're dealing with shadow. We think our negative traits are just part of who we are, like our stubbornness, our anger, our insecurity. We might even label ourselves as someone who is just overly sensitive, too needy, not smart enough, or too dumb. But labeling and accepting these traits as just part of who we are only gives them more power. The truth is, these traits are all wounds that came up in childhood and we stuffed down to survive. And by stuffing them down, we didn't actually stop feeling them. We just buried them. Those feelings and unmet needs didn't evaporate. They kept simmering beneath the surface, manifesting as blocks, limiting beliefs, self-sabotage, relationship issues, and random bursts of emotion. So, to put it simply, shadow work is about unearthing the treasures buried beneath the surface. It's about digging through the layers to uncover the real you. But be warned, this journey isn't always pretty. Shadow work can unearth painful memories and force you to confront the ugly parts of yourself that you'd rather forget. It requires facing the darkness within, embracing the discomfort, and learning to love every part of yourself, even the parts you're ashamed of. And that's why so many people avoid it. In fact, if you're watching this, chances are you've already experienced the pain of shadow work. You felt triggered by a seemingly random situation. Maybe you had an unexpected outburst of anger, tears, or defensiveness. You felt overwhelmed with a sudden wave of insecurity. Or maybe you found yourself self-sabotaging right before an opportunity. All of these experiences are signs of shadow work happening. And while they might be uncomfortable, they're also doorways to transformation. Every trigger, every uncomfortable feeling is an invitation to go deeper, to dig further, and to unearth the hidden treasure beneath the surface. But here's the good news. The moment you bring your shadow into the light, it loses its power. That's because your shadow only has power when it stays hidden. When you shine the light of awareness on it, it loses control. As Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. So maybe it's time to turn around, face the dark, and bring your shadow into the light. Which brings us to the question, what is your shadow? The first step to healing your shadow is getting curious about it. What exactly is it? To answer that, let's delve into a personal example. Imagine you grew up in a household where your creativity was mocked or your sensitive side was shamed. Over time, you learn to hide your true self to fit in. You stuff down your emotions and pretend you're not that sensitive or creative person. But that doesn't mean you stopped being creative or sensitive. It just means you developed new behaviors like shutting down or numbing out to avoid the pain of rejection. Now, fast forward to adulthood. You might find yourself suddenly overwhelmed with insecurity, bursting into tears over small things, or feeling deeply offended when your opinions aren't considered. At first, you might blame external factors or other people. But what if it's not them? What if it's your shadow self resurfacing? These reactions aren't flaws or weaknesses. They're your shadow coming up to be acknowledged and healed. It's the little girl who once felt shamed for being creative and expressing herself, asking to be seen and loved for who she truly is. That's your shadow. It's not some evil entity haunting you, but the parts of you that got hurt and went into hiding. And those parts don't disappear. They keep running your life from behind the scenes, sabotaging relationships, blocking success, feeding self-doubt, making you settle for less and keeping you small. Your shadow isn't just bad habits or toxic traits. It's your unmet needs, your suppressed desires, and even your hidden power. For example, people-pleasing isn't the shadow itself. It's the behavior used to protect the wounded part of you that's afraid of rejection. The wound is the shadow. The behavior is the shield. Now that you understand what your shadow is, it's time to learn how to spot it. How do you know when your shadow is running the show? You'll notice it in patterns. You shut down or explode in arguments. You self-sabotage right before a breakthrough. You can't accept love without questioning it. You procrastinate on the very thing you say you want. You numb out instead of feeling what's really there. These moments aren't proof that you're weak or broken. They're signals. They're invitations to look at the hidden part of you that's asking for attention. When the shadow takes over, it's not because it wants to ruin you. It's because it believes it's keeping you safe. It's the younger version of you that still thinks love, acceptance, or safety depends on hiding, pleasing, controlling, or withdrawing. And now we come to the most important part: how to heal it. Healing your shadow is a lifelong journey, but here are 4 simple steps to get you started. Step number 1. Notice the trigger. Pay attention to the moments you feel a strong emotional reaction: anger, jealousy, shame, defensiveness, or deep insecurity. That's your shadow knocking. Step 2. Pause instead of reacting. Instead of spiraling into the old pattern, take a breath. Create a gap between the trigger and the reaction. This gap is where transformation happens. Step 3. Get curious. Ask, what wound is this protecting? What part of me feels unsafe right now? You'll often find that the reaction isn't about the present moment. It's about an old wound replaying itself. Step 4. Bring compassion. Your shadow doesn't need punishment. It needs understanding. The moment you meet it with love instead of judgment, it begins to soften. Healing your shadow is like peeling back layers of an onion. It's not always a smooth process. There will be times when the pain is too intense or the memories too overwhelming. But with each layer you peel back, you'll find a deeper truth. You'll find a part of yourself that deserves love, acceptance, and healing. And when you finally embrace that part, you'll feel whole. You'll feel free. The truth is, your shadow is not here to destroy you. It's here to guide you. Every time you face it, you reclaim power. Every time you love it, you set yourself free. I know shadow work can seem complex or scary, but it doesn't have to be. Start by noticing your triggers and the parts of yourself you struggle with. Ask yourself what wound is hiding behind those traits. Then meet those wounds with compassion and curiosity. Don't try to fix them or punish them. Try to understand them. That's the beginning of shadow work, and honestly, it's the most important step towards becoming whole, living authentically, and creating the life you desire. So, if you're ready to stop settling, to stop self-sabotaging, and to start thriving, it's time to stop running from your shadow and start walking towards it. Thank you for watching.